Man, I cannot think of a funny intro for this video. I'm writer's block. What? I thought I put that on silent. Hello? Who's this?
I don't have time for your frickin' nonsense. I need help.
What? Okay, slow down. What do you need help with?
I just downloaded Dead by Daylight and I don't understand what's happening at all ever, not even a little bit. Also, I'm wanted in 48 states and 13 countries for jaywalking without a license.
I can't help you with that, but I've got good news. You interrupted me making the intro of the exact video you need. So don't you worry, guy who sounds suspiciously like me. I've got you covered. Since some of you fools still don't understand how the game works, I'm back to explain to you every little thing I can think of about Dead by Daylight, and we're starting with the Shrine of Secrets. The Shrine of Secrets acts as a store that can be accessed from either the Survivor or Killer menu. Now, once in the Shrine of Secrets, it gives you the ability to purchase perks from survivors and killers you do not have for a low price of 2,000 iridescent shards. The shrine always comes with 2 killer perks and 2 survivor perks and resets once per week, so make sure to check back with it frequently. Now this shrine works as a perfect example. I don't have any of these killers or survivors on this account, but if I had enough iridescent shards, I would be able to purchase any of their perks without even having the character. And if any of you call me poor for not having enough iridescent shards, you're banned. If you choose to unlock one of these perks, it'll start out as level 1 on all survivors or killers, depending on which style of perk you bought, but you will be able to level it up to level 3 in that survivor or killer's respective blood webs. We will get to what blood webs are later in the video. The next thing I'm going to make sure you understand is the Rift, which is essentially the Dead by Daylight Battle Pass. This can be accessed by going to the archives from the main menu, and then going to the Rift from this menu here. The Rift comes with a free track and a premium paid track that costs $10 US. The premium track comes with better cosmetics, so if you want to look as drippy as can be, then you better be ready to splash some US currency on some Oryx cells, you see? I'm sorry, I won't do that again. The free track offers very basic things like blood points, iridescent shards, and simple cosmetics, while the premium track offers better cosmetics and full outfits for different characters, as well as more Oryx cells to make your sweet $10 back, banners, charms, and other interesting items throughout. Now that you understand the Rift, it's time for me to sit down and learn you a thing or two about the Tome. The Tome is a series of challenges for both Killer and Survivor that you can complete to earn blood points, as well as Rift fragments, which help you progress through the Rift faster than natural progression. These challenges can be as simple as be chased by a killer for 30 seconds or drop 1 pallet, to as complicated as carry 1 survivor for over 50 meters in 1 game. Which is a whole lot of frickin' meters. The Tome is also accessed by going through archives on the main menu. The Compendium is a real simple thing. It allows you to go back and access all previous tomes from Dead by Daylight. Now, you won't still get Rift fragments from completing the challenges, but you will get blood points, so if you're in a desperate need to level up any characters, this is a great way to earn blood points fast. The Compendium is accessed, like the Tome and Rift, through archives on the main menu. Now, I want to spend some time on the tutorial and what all it can do for you to help you improve quickly at the game and understand it better. Once you're in the tutorial menu, you have an option to do the Survivor tutorial, Killer tutorial, and a game mode called Survive with Bots and Kill the Bots. The Survivor tutorial offers you an opportunity to learn and practice many of the techniques you'll need to employ throughout a Survivor game of Dead by Daylight. So here the tutorial offers you an opportunity to practice your skill checks while repairing generators. Here the tutorial shows you what pain is like if you step in one of the trapper's bear traps. This is where the tutorial teaches you about the importance of teamwork. As you can see, our teammate Meg here has been hooked, and we have to get her off the hook. Now that me and Meg are both healed, we can work on the final generator here together and escape. Now, I highly recommend doing the tutorial for all beginners, as it breaks down a lot of the simple concepts of Dead by Daylight and allows for practice in performing these concepts. Now that we're in the Killer tutorial, you can see that things look a little bit different. For one, the game is in first person. All Killer games are played from the first person. Also, generators, or I guess in this case generator, since it's a tutorial, are outlined in red. If this were a real game, all generators would be outlined in red as a reminder for where you need to check for survivors so you're not wandering around the map blind. Now this generator is almost complete. As a killer, that's not good. So what we're going to do is we're going to walk up to this generator, hold our spacebar, and kick the crap out of it. Kicking the crap out of it causes the generator to regress in progress until it's touched by a survivor again. Now, we found a survivor. Notice how when they're running, they leave something called scratch marks on the ground. Notice that they create... I'm not going to go too in-depth as to how playing Killer works, because what I would tell you is what the tutorial tells you. So if you're interested in learning how to play Killer effectively, do the tutorial and spend a lot of time practicing it. It's difficult, but it's easily learnable. Now, I'm not going to play Survive with Bots and kill the bots in this video, but they offer you an opportunity to both practice your game as Survivor with 3 AI teammates and an AI killer, or your killer game with 4 AI survivors going against you. I highly recommend doing these if you're a newcomer to the game, as they give you great stress-free practice at all aspects of the game. Now it's time for a breakdown of everyone's favorite thing ever, capitalism, in the form of Dead by Daylight's store. The first thing I need to teach you about the store is to not use the featured, specials, collections, or bundles menu, as they're confusing and dumb and stupid and dumb. The only tabs I use when I use the store are the Killers and Survivors tabs. This is because they allow you to look at each killer individually and look at their own specific cosmetics instead of random bundles that the game thinks you'll like. So if I want to go to Clown and pick a new outfit for him via customizations up here, I can go and easily find the one I want, and look at that, I'm dripped out. Everything in the store is bought either with Oryx cells. Why did I say it like that? Everything in the store is bought with either Oryx cells or iridescent shards. Oryx cells cost real US dollars, and iridescent shards are gained by leveling up your account. Now I'm sure you've noticed that the game has many real, licensed killers, such as Michael Myers. And yes, I said real. And yes, he's coming for you. All licensed killers can only be bought with Oryx cells, as DBD needs to make their money back that they spent on the licensing. But if it's an original character that Dead by Daylight themselves came up with, they can be bought with iridescent shards. The last thing I need to explain to you before I skedaddle is something called daily rituals. Daily rituals can be accessed from the main menu by clicking on this thing down here that's supposedly a candle, but you and I know better. By looking at it, you can clearly see that that's a boot on fire. Now, daily rituals are basically daily challenges that award you with blood points upon completion. If you don't feel like doing one of the daily challenges because they're too difficult and you're a little coward, then you can click on the little trash can emoji, which will get rid of the challenge and replace it with a new one. Alright, I think that's everything I needed to point out. The Shrine of Secrets, the Rift, the Tome. Wait, how is he calling me again? I thought I blocked his number. What do you want?
You didn't frickin' teach me nothing, not one thing, dadgummit. I don't know nothing about the game.
So you need more?
Yes, I need more.
You're being real needy, but you know what? I'll keep going just for you. Since that fool still doesn't understand what's going on, it's time to teach you even more about Dead by Daylight. And we're going to start with the Blood Web. The Blood Web for a new survivor looks like this. The Blood Web is accessed from the Survivor menu from this icon that looks like a spider web. Makes sense. The Blood Web is where you buy your perks, add-ons, and offerings that you bring with you to the game. A beginner Blood Web only has a couple slots for a perk or two, an item, or a couple add-ons. But on a character I have more leveled up, you can see that the Blood Web expands rather quickly and goes up to level 50, where it takes up most of the left half of your screen with items, perks, and add-ons that you can buy with blood points. To buy from the Blood Web, all you have to do is make sure you have enough blood points, hover over the item you want, and click it and hold, and then you've bought that item. Or, if you're feeling particularly lazy, you can go to this icon in the middle, and it will automatically purchase throughout the Blood Web until everything is bought or blocked off by the entity. I covered loadouts in my last video, but I want to talk more specifically about what they do in this video. Loadouts are comprised of 4 perks. Every perk does something different, and there are too many to go into in this video. If you need to know what a perk does, hover over it and read its description, and that'll tell you what it does. What I will describe in great detail are items. Items are things you can bring to the arena that make processes in the game either quicker or easier to complete. Each different type of item provides a different service. For example, toolboxes make generators easier and quicker to complete. Medkits heal your teammates quicker. Flashlights allow you to blind the killer by shining it in their eyes. Maps allow you to see the aura or outlines of things like generators, the killer, or your teammates through walls. And keys are kind of like wildcards. Keys can only be used with add-ons, and these add-ons each give a different power to the key. So keys can really be used for anything. If you select a key for your item, make sure you very carefully read what the add-on that goes along with it does. To extrapolate on my last point, as you can see, I've selected the key as my item and the blood amber as my add-on. The blood amber reveals the killer's aura within a 32-meter range, which means if you're within 32 meters of the killer, you can see their outline through the wall. This is a very useful add-on, as knowing where the killer is at practically all times is understandably very useful. The last part of your loadout you need to build are your offerings. Offerings are really a mixed bag of what they can do. Things like Bloody Party Streamers grant 100% bonus blood points in all categories for all players, meaning you and all of your teammates get double blood points at the conclusion of a game. Some like the Beef Tallow Mixture, will change the map you're being sent to by increasing the odds that you go there. And when it says tremendously increase the chances, it means tremendously increase the chances, as it's very rare to not end up going to the map that you bring an offering for. Some also change your luck with things like unhooking yourself or the quality of items you find in chests throughout the game here, like Virgin's Jar of Salty Lips. There are other type of offerings, too many to truly go over in this video, but if you're curious as to what an offering does, hover over it and a description of that offering will pop up that you can read. This description will tell you what the offering does. I also need to mention that you can build 3 preset loadouts that are numbered up here with the numbers 1, 2, and 3. So if you have 3 specific builds you like and want to change between games, you can go to 2 and build yourself another loadout comprised of your perks, item, add-ons, and your offerings. Now, for you astute viewers out there, I'm sure you've noticed that the background color of all of these icons have been different. This is because they're different rarities. An item with a brown background is of common rarity. Common rarity means you'll find a lot of them, but they also don't make a tremendous change to whatever they're doing. Whether it be an item add-on or an offering, they don't really affect that much. For example, this one only offers a 5% increase in healing speed. If an item has a yellow background, that means it's of uncommon rarity. Uncommon rarity items are a bit more impactful than their common counterparts, however, understandably, they're harder to find. For example, the medical scissors increases healing speed by 10%, which is faster than the butterfly tape, which only increases it by 5%, but I have 28 butterfly tapes to only 5 medical scissors. If an item has a green background, that means it's of rare rarity. Rare rarities are the ones that really start to have an impact on the game and make a noticeable difference on the quality of your item, perk, or add-on, whatever it may be. This gauze roll adds 10 charges to the medkit, which means that it adds 10 more seconds of use to your medkit, which will allow you to heal your teammates faster for longer. If you have an item with a purple background color, this means it's a very rare rarity. Items of very rare rarity increase your item quality exponentially and make it clearly better than what the item is if it has no add-ons. For example, this abnormal dressing increases healing speed by a whopping 15%. The last rarity is the pink background, which is ultra rare rarity. Ultra rare rarity items often change the way the item works to make them beneficial, but understandably, they're extremely rare. For example, if you put the anti-hemorrhagic syringe in your medkit, then you can use the secondary action button, which for PC players will be right-click, to automatically use your entire medkit, and it will heal your teammate over time in 16 seconds. This means you don't have to spend your time healing the teammate, you can just press one button, and then your teammate will be automatically healed 16 seconds later. It is worth noting, however, that perks only come in the uncommon, rare, and very rare rarity qualities. There are no common or ultra rare perks. One thing I touched on in my last video, but didn't explain in depth, is the 3 survivor teachable perks that come with each survivor. Each survivor has 3 perks that are specific to them and their backstory. The example I used in my last video, and will use in this video, is Claudette Morel's perk, Self-Care, that allows you to heal yourself. These perks are called teachables because by prestiging your blood web, you can unlock these perks on other survivors. Your blood web becomes prestiged once you've gotten it to level 50. But if you only prestige it once, you'll only have that perk at level 1 or uncommon rarity on other survivors. If you want to get it to level 3, then you have to prestige your blood web 3 times, or in other words, 150 levels. Some perks work really well together, but unfortunately, they come on 2 different survivors. and they may even come on 2 different survivors that you don't even have unlocked. Now, you may be wondering, Pagdonious Esquire, how can I get these survivors and their perks so they can work together effectively? Well, if you'd keep your mouth shut, I'd tell you. The example I'm going to give you is a perk combo I use all the time called the Lithe Dance With Me combo. Lithe is a perk by Fang Min that causes you to run faster after you vault a window or drop off of a ledge. This works great with the perk Dance With Me by Kate Denson because Dance With Me causes you to not leave scratch marks after you vault a window. So, if you have these perks combined and vault a window while being chased by the killer, not only will you be speeding away from them at hypersonic speeds, you won't be leaving any scratch marks for them to track you off of. Now, on this account, I don't have either of those survivors unlocked, so I don't have any of these perks. The best way to go about getting these survivors, and thus these perks, if you're not willing to spend real money on Auric Cells that is to just grind out games of Dead by Daylight to level up your account as quick as possible and earn iridescent shards, so you can purchase the characters and their perks. Once the characters are purchased, you'll have to level up their blood webs, which will take some time, but with how many free blood points DBD gives you, and just playing enough games for practice and fun, you'll get those perks together in no time. Now, I want to briefly discuss the difference in loadout building for a killer versus a survivor. It works the same generally, with perks, add-ons, and offerings, but the primary difference is you can no longer bring an item. Your item is replaced by your power. Each power is killer-specific and cannot be changed. Now, I've not played any killer on this account, so I don't have perks, add-ons, or offerings for killers, but I can still explain to you how they work. Perks work the exact same, in that you can equip 4 of them, and there's 3 rarities for every perk, and even the teachables work the same way. It's just they make life harder for the survivors instead of the killer. Add-ons for killers, which I don't have any of, make your power a little stronger. And offerings for killers, which I also don't have, makes life harder for the survivors in other ways. For example, it can make the map darker, which makes it harder for survivors to see. It can block generators, which means survivors can't start doing generators until later into the round. And one of the most fun ones, which is called a Mori. Moris allow you to just down your survivor by hitting them twice, and if they're on their second hook, instead of taking them to a hook to kill them, you can kill them while they're downed in a cool animation called a Mori. This both saves time and makes you look really cool. So if you get a Mori, I highly recommend playing it. Now we've loaded into a game, and in this game, I want to show you some important things to look out for while you're being chased by the killer, or things to keep your eyes on while you're searching for gens. The first thing I want to show you is called a pallet. Pallets are useful when you're being chased by a killer, and this is what they look like. If you're being chased by a killer and you come upon a pallet, you can run under it, and in this case press space to pull it down, which will drop this pallet that cannot be walked over between you and the killer. If you time it properly, you can drop it on the killer's head and stun them for a couple seconds while you run away. Another important thing to look for are windows. Windows are nice because when you're being chased by a killer, you can run up to them and vault them like that. This will put a wall between you and your killer while you attempt to get away. This right here is what's called a breakable wall, which is a bit of a misleading name. It's only breakable for the killer and can make the map easier to access from all angles by the killer. So this normally is not broken, but if you're expecting it to be intact and then the killer pops out of there, you can get jump scared and hit without even realizing that you can be hit from there. So it's important to keep in mind whether or not this has been broken or not. This building here is what's called the Killer's Shack. The Killer's Shack is your best advantage as a survivor in a chase, as it has a pallet and a window right next to each other. It is very critical to keep this place in mind when you're being chased by a killer, so you can use its both Hello. The last thing I want to mention is the concept of 3-genning yourself, what it is, why it's bad, and how to avoid it. When you load into a DBD game, 7 generators spawn on the map. Now obviously, as a survivor, you only need to power up 5 to escape. 3-genning yourself means that you've completed 4 generators, so there are 3 generators remaining on the map that have not been completed, but all 3 of these generators are right next to each other in the center of the map. This is bad because the killer can patrol these 3 generators very quickly and efficiently and basically keep survivors off the generators for the rest of the game, even if all survivors are left alive. You can avoid this by making sure to complete at least 1 generator in the center of the map early in the game. This is almost always enough to prevent you from 3-genning yourself and coming to this horrible end-of-game situation where all of the survivors are alive and there's only 1 generator left, but you just can't quite get it done because they're too close to each other. Now that you've watched this video, you know... Oh my... He's calling me again? Will he ever just leave me alone?
Thank you so much. I've learned so much about Dead by Daylight now that I've seen your video.
Wait, what do you mean seen my video? I'm recording the outro right now. How have you seen the video?
Turn around.
Ah!